She's here to tell you a little bit about her personal story and how the arts have affected her life and taken her through her challenges. And thank you for coming, and we'll give it to Alyssa.
Well, good afternoon. I do not have a microphone, so hopefully you guys can hear me. I think I can talk loud. So how's everybody doing today?
Good.
Awesome. That's great. Well, as Mrs. Graves said, I am Alyssa Hicks. And this is my guide dog, Gabby. I don't know if you can see her. I'm kind of pointing down, but of course you can. She's a black Labrador retriever. She is beautiful. I love her. She's very faithful and loyal. And you're probably wondering why I have a dog with me. If you haven't already noticed, she has a harness. And that harness has a handle, and that's used, she guides me. So I was born blind, without vision, as you can probably tell. So Gabby's job is to guide me. So if I hold her harness handle and I give her directions like forward, right, or left, her job is to take me where I want to go. Although I have to know where I want to go, she is my eyes to get me there. So that's Gabby, and she's always by my side. So she's a great little companion to have. So I am here today, as Mrs. Graves said, to tell you about some of the challenges and hardships that I have faced throughout my life and how music and the arts has helped me to overcome those things. So as you might imagine, being born blind can come with its challenges, obviously. I've never seen anything in my life. I've never, ever seen color, so I don't know what color is. Basically, I can see black and I can see white. And that's basically if the light's on, it's white. If the light's off, it's black. And that's basically my vision. So, and my blindness was caused by a genetic disease that my parents happen to be both carriers of, and that disease is called Leber's congenital amaurosis, and that left me totally without vision, and it cannot be cured at this point. So, I have had to learn to adapt and grow up in this way. And fortunately, I was raised in a very good family. I'm one of 4 children. And my parents were wonderful, and their goal was to raise me in such a way and to help me to adapt to the world in such a way where I won't have to let my disability define me. So basically, they wanted me to try my best to fit in a world of sight while being blind, so that it didn't affect me, so that I could just fit in and do everything just like sighted people. So they did a very good job of sort of preparing me for that. But then I started school. And I can remember in the 3rd grade, I was at recess one day, and some young man came up to me, a boy, and pointed out that I could not see, as if I didn't know. And one of the things he said, which will always stick with me, is he said the R word to me, which is retarded. And he called me retarded, among other things, mentally challenged, every other form of that word you can think of. And that is the first time that I really noticed I was different, because I was called names that I did not hear any of my other friends being called. And I thought, I knew I couldn't see, but I didn't really realize until that point how different I really was from everyone else in my class and at my school. So that's when I began to wonder and question and, think, how am I going to fit in? How am I going to be normal? And that's the first time that I was made fun of and teased, and it went on from there, unfortunately. And around that time, my mom actually encouraged me to join a community choir through my church, and basically it was a very awesome opportunity. It was a choir, and it was, I believe, 3rd through all the way through 12th, so it was just a bunch of age groups that came together, and we would sing and perform at different church venues and things like that around the city. And by the way, if I didn't mention this, I was raised in Southern California. I don't think I mentioned I was born here in Southern California, but I was raised in Palmdale, which is in the desert, about an hour from here. So that's where I went to school, that's where I joined the choir, and it was a very good opportunity. And so I learned very early in life that singing was a passion of mine, that it was a gift that God gave to me. I loved singing, and when I felt down or discouraged or after I had been bullied, oftentimes I'd come home from school and I'd hide in my room and I would sing. And that's what I would do. And I would also sit at the piano. I learned to play the keys. And so I would play and sing. And that was my escape from a lot of dark moments in my life, in my childhood. And also, being in a church choir, I was told about the love of Jesus and how he died for me and set me free. And so that was a comfort as well. And a lot of times I would sit and the Lord would put songs in my heart and lyrics in my heart. And I would just sing the words that came from me, and I'd write songs. And a lot of times I never share them with anyone because, songs from a little girl are often not very developed, and so I wouldn't share them, but I would sing them just, me and the Lord, just in a room, and that's how I got through a lot of things. And so that was my elementary years. And as I got into junior high, how many of you in here, and I would ask you to raise your hand, but I won't see you, so so that I know and can tell, just clap your hands if you enjoyed junior high. That was not very many hand claps. Okay, that's what I thought. So now give me a confident hand clap if it was the worst time of your life and you did not like it. Okay, that's what I thought. Junior high, you know how that goes. Those are some hard years, and they are with most people. And when I was in junior high, 7th and 8th grade were very hard years, and I remember that's the time in my life that I began to question God and began to be confused and angry and wonder why I was born this way. And of course I was teased throughout school, but this is the first time I really thought, life would have been a lot easier if I had not been born blind. And what made me start to realize this was, you girls in here that, when you were in 7th and 8th grade, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That's when you start, putting on the makeup and, getting into fashion and, oh, do my clothes match? And does my hair look perfect? And, oh, this hairdo goes with this outfit. And, that's what you do when you're in junior high because you start to try to fit in. So you go to the mall with your friends, and of course you still do that now, but that's when it all starts. And so that is when I began to realize that I could not participate in those events with my friends. I would go with them to the mall, but I would always stand behind a group of girls that were excited and shopping and picking out makeup, and I would just stand behind them kind of as a lonely shadow, like, what do I do now? I don't know what anything looks like, what they're picking out, and no one asked my opinion if this dress looks good on her, so I just began to withdraw and wonder, what should I do, and how am I going to survive in this world? And so one day, I was in my room and talking to God and trying to put on makeup. Now, I would sit in front of a mirror oftentimes and pretend that I could see through it, which was no easy task. And I would put on lip gloss and whatever other makeup my mom would let me wear, which wasn't much at the time. But I would sit there and try my best to put it on. And I remember thinking, I would really love to see my reflection in this mirror. Because I looked back at the mirror and nothing was there. And I realized that, and I was like, how can I see myself? I don't even know what I look like. I don't even know if I'm pretty. I don't even know anything about myself other than my personality, of course, which at that point I had such a low self-esteem, I just didn't know what to do. And I remember sitting there in the dark room because I didn't turn on the light because I didn't need to, and I sat there and I thought to myself, there's got to be a way. There's got to be hope in this situation. And I remember a still small voice in my heart helped me come up with a group of lyrics of a song that I did write at that point. And the song was called Tell Me If I'm Beautiful, and basically the lyrics had a lot to do with the mirror and what it would be like to look in that mirror. And I was telling the mirror, please tell me, what do you see? And in that song, the ultimate message of that song that I wrote was basically saying that the outside appearance does not matter, but that ultimately the inside appearance and what you look like on the inside matters most. And that was a huge lesson for me. And again, that song, music, the arts, the creativity that the Lord gave me to write that song, that helped to heal my heart. And from that point on, I remember thinking, my inward appearance is more important, and I don't have to worry about my outward appearance. And so that started a series of events that allowed me to be healed of that anger and that questioning and that doubt. And I still have questions every now and then, and it's not perfect, but I definitely was on a road to recovery and a road to reconciliation inside of myself. And so things were starting to brighten up and get brighter and get lighter, and I was starting to smile more, and I was just starting to sing more, because when you're happy, sometimes you just walk around the house and sing. I know I do. And I was playing the piano a lot, and I was able to actually share the song I wrote with many groups of people. I actually got to sing it to my own 8th grade class, which was very fun. And it was amazing for me. It was a good experience because I got to tell them what I had learned through my trial and hopefully, help them out through theirs. And then when high school hit, when I was a sophomore, just as everything started to fall into place, something else happened that made my world crumble to pieces around me. My parents suddenly divorced, and I didn't see it coming because I was raised in a home where my parents were strong. There was a strong foundation. You know, I was raised in a very, very firm home of good values and morals and everything. And suddenly, every foundation that had been built just crumbled to the ground, and everything I knew I now questioned. And so that started a new series of questioning and doubting and self-esteem just rolling down the hill. And I began to search again and wonder what I was going to do. And at that point, I don't know how many of you in this room, and I'll ask for claps again just so I know, but how many of you have ever had to move high schools in the middle of your high school career? Anybody in here? Wow. So you can relate with me with what I'm about to tell you. So after my sophomore year, my parents divorced and my mom decided that she needed to move us. So we moved, and it was an hour away. So now, you know, I was actually born here in Simi, and then we moved to Palmdale, and then we moved back after the divorce, my mom and I and my siblings, here to Simi, right between my sophomore and junior year. And so that's how I started going to Royal. So I've only went to Royal 2 years. And that was a very, very hard time for me. And it ended up being a very beautiful time, but it was hard because I had to leave everything I knew, all the friends that I had grown to love, and everything that I enjoyed, and just start over again. And, you know, having a disability, that can be a challenge because people automatically, whether they know it or not, look at me and the judgments start because they see that I'm different, which is true. I'm very different. But I had to learn to live with that and to explain to them and to let them know that just because I have a disability does not stop me from doing the things that I want to do in life, and it does not define me in any way. And so when I started going to Royal again, I took up music because I love it. It's just something I know the Lord has gifted me with. It's just something that I am so passionate about. And so I joined the choir here at Royal. I was in the chamber singers. I was in jazz choir, or vocal ensemble. I think it's women's ensemble now. And I just loved my time in choir, and I learned so much musically and just developed my gift so much during that time. And after high school, I was able to, after taking a year off to sort some things out in my life, I was able to go to college. I applied to a small Christian university down in Costa Mesa in Orange County called Vanguard, and I got accepted and went into major in music with an emphasis in applied voice, which is basically vocal instruction. And it was an amazing time in college. And two very important things happened. The first being that right after my freshman year of college, I received my first guide dog. And she was a yellow lab. Her name was January. She was a beautiful dog. And she opened up a new world for me because being blind, I'm sure you've seen people use white canes, you know, to get around. And that's what I did in the beginning of the first, 19 or so years of my life. And when I received my guide dog, it was like a whole new world opened up to me. And one of the things I've always wanted to do, one of the hard things about being blind for me, was when I turned 16 and all my friends got their driver's licenses. And I was like, oh, that would be nice, but me driving a car would not be so nice. But to me, when I got January and began working with her, it was like I got to drive a car for the first time. And it was the most amazing feeling I've ever had. And it was like I walked so much faster and the wind was in my face and I just felt so much more free. And so that opened up a huge world. And I went through every part of college with her. I mean, for 2 years we worked together. And she went from class to class with me, and she was my best friend, my roommate, everything. And 2 years into our working life together, she suddenly, tragically, had to retire because of some health issues that she had and other issues as well. And that, again, crumbled my world just as it was starting to look brighter. And it was a pattern in my life. As soon as things got really good, they just crumbled again. And that was a lot of times what happened in my life. And so I had to get through that. And again, I turned to the arts because, again, that was my passion, and that was what made me smile, and that was what gave me hope in my life, just if even it was a glimmer. And I remember sitting in my dorm room just missing my dog so much because she was my closest companion in that room. It was so lonely, and I just remember sitting on my piano and just composing a melody. And honestly, I named it after her. I called it January, and I was so sad, and my heart was in so much sorrow that I couldn't sing any words. And sometimes that happens. You guys might relate with me. You know, if you ever have a time where you're just feeling so lost and so lonely and just feeling such despair in your heart, you don't feel like any words can possibly come from your mouth. And so I remember just sitting there playing, and only my hands could really express the way I was feeling at that time. And so I composed a wordless melody, and it was a very defining moment in my life. I was able to play it for my music theory class in college, and that was a very impactful moment. And shortly after that, or during that time, I met someone at Vanguard, and I would like to point him out to you now, if my handsome husband can raise your hand, baby, for everyone. And that's my husband, Richard. He is, I will get emotional if I keep talking about him. He is incredible, and he was the greatest blessing, aside from my salvation, in my life. And right around the time that I lost January was when Richard and I started dating and fell in love quite quickly. And so I actually ended up graduating from college with a music degree in December of 2014, and a week later, Richard and I were married, which was the best day of my life by far, better than any guide dog or anything. It was amazing. And again, at my wedding, I picked certain songs to walk down the aisle to that just made me happy and filled my heart with such joy. And music can do that. It really has a way of just capturing your heart. And my heart was captured in more ways than one that day, mostly by my handsome man sitting over there. He's so awesome. He truly loves me for who I am, and I never thought that was possible for someone to love me despite my disability, but he truly does. And I appreciate him more than I could ever say. And so we got married and moved to Santa Clarita, where Six Flags Magic Mountain is, if you guys know where that is. And we lived there for about a year and a half. And during that time, I received my second guide dog, who is right here, Gabby. And she was just such a ray of light in my life. And she is such a ray of light in my life. Just has brought such hope to me, and I love her. And you know, she's amazing. And if you guys ever get a chance to see a guide dog working in action, you will see how wonderfully exhilarating and beautiful it really is. But I want to share with you guys, after all of this, my story, I hope that I can inspire you guys that no matter what you're going through, no matter what you feel, no matter what darkness is in your life, don't lose heart of that still small voice that's in your heart that is telling you that you have a purpose and a reason to live, that you have creativity that the Lord has given you in your heart. You have gifts. I don't know any of you in here, but I can tell already that there is massive amounts of talent in this room. Don't be afraid of that. Step into your gift. Step into your calling. Develop your gift. And, if you love to play musical instruments or sing or dance or paint or anything like that, seek teachers that can help you develop those gifts. If your gift is writing, seek people that can help you write better and develop those things in your heart that the Lord has given you a passion for. And, if your passion right now is still unknown and you're not sure what your talent or your gift is, I know you have one, so don't ever listen to the lie that you don't. But if it's just doing well in school, maybe just being successful, that's great. Continue that. Be successful in school. Ask your teachers questions. I know every teacher here cares about your success and would love to help you. And I'm a testament to that you can be successful despite the challenges and obstacles that you have in your life. And actually now, my husband and I currently live back in Simi Valley, by the way. Just as of a month ago, he got a really good job opportunity. It was such a blessing, and so we moved back here, and that's exciting. And so hopefully doors will open up here, and I get to be back at Royal a lot, which is awesome. I love it. And, I'm so glad to have been here with you guys today. It really warms my heart to see just the passion in this room. I know the potential in this room is so great. And I know that a lot of you, I'm sure, are hoping to move on to college and, to get degrees and enter into your various careers. That's awesome. And I just am so proud of each and every one of you for that. and don't give up on your dreams. I know that your dreams are important. Don't ever let anybody tell you that they're not. So I want to thank you guys for being such good listeners today and just being so attentive, and I'm just so glad to have been here. You guys are wonderful. So God bless each and every one of you. Thank you.